Oh, those are my shoes. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Shyzalosophy 101. Yeah, it's great. It's great to be alive. I love that part. Here's your host, Shyzabox. Is the show starting? Oh, it must be. We heard our introduction. Here we come. Giddy up. Oh, giddy up, girl. Hurry. We don't want to be late. Thank you. Such a welcoming, warm introduction. Get out of here. And the horse. You rode in on. Must have been a heck of one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome nuns and all, priests, preachers, cardinals, rabbis, bishops, weirdos with beardos, Alcoholics Anonymous, anyone who stumbled upon this by mistake and or accident. Welcome nuns, welcome all. We have got a fantastic show for you today. Oh, sorry. Yes, apologies. We've got a free show for you today. That's right. Remember, you get what you pay for. Now, I don't think it's of necessitation to go back through our officially endorsed live stream note-keeping journal, all right, with which to make sure that we're on the right track for today's episode or anything like that. Obviously, you don't need to watch this live stream to utilize a officially endorsed live stream note-taking journal. But, you know, as a live stream, or arguably maybe not a good one, we need to provide that service for that of anyone who watches live streams. You're welcome. Let's see if we took note on what we have to do. Oh, nothing on this page. You can see it's a journal because it's not filled out. But obviously, we know that today's show is inherently set up to be about that of Lithic Logic. That's right. You might be saying, what the hell's that? What? Damn it, Mom, we told you at breakfast. Don't interject when we're starting to get on a roll. A breakfast roll, you fat ass? What? You're not allowed to make big jokes anymore. If you call them big, you can. What? What is this show? I don't know. You know, we're going to start looking foolish on the internet if we, as philosophers, maybe not good ones, come out here and don't even don our thinking hats before we start opening our mouths. Believe you me, before we get too far as well, we better take the time to apologize for something pertaining to last stream. That's right. We can't be perfect all the time. That's God's job, right? We do need to apologize for something pertaining to last stream. Sorry about that. Excellent. Forgive and forget, right? Of course. So anyhow, before we get too far ahead, obviously apologize for last stream. Sounds good. Forgot to clock in today, right? That's right. Need to get all of that not paid we get. Hey, put management on the phone. Yeah. Now I'm trying to talk to our boss real quick. Hey, clock us in like 3 hours ago. We were here, even if the stream is just popping up now. It's technical difficulties. Yeah, no, you totally owe us for that time. We were here on site and everything. Yeah, working hard and all sorts of stuff. All right, get out of here. Management, they think they know how to run the place. Believe you me, they usually do. But yes, we can't just look foolish on the internet before we get way too far ahead of ourselves, okay? As philosophers, you know, acting of a foolish sort and nature is not in our nature and or sort. It's not a joke, but laugh as you will. You are ruthless, internet. Yes. We better don that of our thinking hat before we look ridiculous online. Jeez, don't want to start talking the pickup game of philosophy without having adorned that of the appropriate and proper attire, right? Excellent. Much better. Believe you me. You might be saying to yourself, what is that? Huh? Everything's fine. Huh? What was that? You want us to read from our poetry book? Okay. Well, believe you me, we were going to talk Lithic Logic today, but you want us to read from our poetry book? Oh, by astounding applause. What? Someone said something in a chat. Who's that? Brain, or is that Brian? And you misspelled it. I don't know. It could be either one. HRU today. Oh, what is that? How are you? Now, of course it is. Brian. We can call you Brian, right? Nah, of course we can. B-Money. You know, how are us today is rather pretty fantastic, we would like to think, okay? That's right. You might be saying to yourself like, oh, you son of a bitch, I wish you were doing horrible. What? Mom, we told you about chiming in. Knock it off. What? Not Brian. Well, of course it's not Brian. Brian? We just asked if we could call you Brian. And obviously you said no. Sorry about that. All right, we obviously, you know, we go way back, not Brian. We can call you B-Money, right? Of course we can. B-Money, we go back ones and chats ago when we obviously knew that your name wasn't Brian. You know how to spell your own name. Point is that with us being pretty much best friends now, we'll let you pick the poem that we read, okay? Now, don't get mad at B-Money. He's our best friend now. All right, B-Money. You can pick out of... I don't know. We're just going to read whatever we want to anyway. Here's one called Diceth of the Man. But no, you're right. You're right. Hold on, wait. What are you saying? Just say Flames. Flames! Is that your name? Well, Flames, we're going to be honest with you. That's a pretty badass nickname. We wish our nickname was Flames. No. We get good old Shyzabox, right? Yeah. Flames was already taken. But believe you me, if our nickname were Flames, we'd be like working so fast. like, man, that's how we get our nickname. Be like, oh, slow down, Flames. Or, because everything we touch, we usually incinerate, unfortunately. Yeah. Sorry about that. Flames BD. Well, believe you me, we don't know what that acronym is. All right, this is from How Poetry. How Poetry Cometry. That's right, it's our book. You might be saying, though, you can't just read poetry into the aether without cleaning up all of that nasty joeyiness around you first. That's why we adhere to the strict measures and means of 90s practices of cleansing the areas around you. Okay? Obviously, anyone who's adhered to or seen movies or sitcoms from the 90s knows this is how you cleanse negative energy in the ether around you. Okay? So we adhere to those practices and standards. 1, 2. That was 2. It takes 3. Everyone knows this. 3. Excellent. Good. So now that all that negative energy is here, we're free to, obviously, take this negative ball of crap and, through the power of the internet, throw it into your domicile. Now, believe you me, you're going to want to clean that up. Some nasty shit around there that you're standing in. Why would you celebrate that? Because you're about to read the poem for free. We don't got to buy the book. What? Well, fair enough. Yes, fair point. This one's called Diceth of the Man. Andrew of the dices of the clay, legendary delivery, in vulgarest of ways, funniest of the banter, wittiest of the joke. Yo, mother! Excellent. Yes, you might be saying that was the best poem you've heard all day. Yes, believe you me, it probably was the only poem that you've heard today so far. Therefore, we sit thusly at the best. Now, believe you me, we know that we are not the best, obviously and inherently. Okay? Yes, we would claim nothing of the sort, because we know that of our place. It's beneath your feet. Yes, we are that of a servant of man, because we are of man. We are not better than man, for We just are man itself. We are but one man. Point is that with us knowing our place beneath that of yourselves, obviously, we laid claim with a little thing called Daryl Dixon Dibbs. Yes, you're probably familiar with Daryl Dixon Dibbs from The Walking Dead. Yes. Fantastic show. Quite the hit in its day. Getting caught at the end of every season only to escape at the beginning of the next. Allowed it to go on in longevity until what the hell happened to that show? Doesn't matter. Point is that with Daryl Dixon Dibbs, therefore, being a thing because Walking Dead was awesome at the time. Subjective, irrelevant. We called Daryl Dixon Dibbs that being best of the worst internet celebrities there is, okay? Well, that's right, okay? Now, we know that obviously best of the worst is going to be crap, okay? Show sucks. Sorry about that. But, our personal guarantee to you, as a philosopher, as a man of our word, one man, anything else that you watch that you like and or love is going to be better. It's our personal guarantee to you. So, as we sit back and think today what the show inherently is about, yes, Lithic rocks and Lithic Logic and just rocks. Sounds pretty boring. Sounds like we could do that pretty fast and then, pretty much call it a day. So, let's see where this takes us. Rocks. Foundational things that exist that, we stand on, that we skip across water, that we can pick up, that we can use as counterbalance weights to whatever. I don't know. Whatever you want to use a rock for, okay? Lithic means rock, okay? Now, obviously, we know that mankind and humanity is stupid, okay? Now, keep in mind, we are of humanity and mankind too. We're no better. We're pretty dumb, okay? Believe you me. Many will attest to such metrics and measures, okay? That's okay. How we are beheld in the eyes of man is of irrelevance, okay? Can I be moderator? Hell yeah, you can be moderator. You're going to pretty much be moderating yourself. But you absolutely can be moderator, B-Money. You know why? Because we're pretty much besties. We go back ones of chats ago, and we know you're not Brian, obviously. The name Brian kind of sucks, right? But yeah, you get to be the head moderator person, especially of now. So believe you me, we do want to keep it fairly cleaned up and of the utmost, greatness that it can be. We know, B-Money, with you on the case, you are going to not only lead us into that future of whatever it is, but with you at the helm, B-Money, we're just going to follow suit and pretty much do whatever you want us to. We are like working lapdogs, okay? B-Money, what would you like? We'll make it for you, okay? Believe you me, that's what we do. We've been best friends for 20 years. Well, of course, in fact, we feel it's been longer than 20 years, B-Money. The minute that we knew your name wasn't Brian, because that name sucks, right? Mostly. It's okay. Depending on how you spell it. Is there a I-A-N, a Y-A-N? Who cares, right? It's still Brian at the end of the day. Ironically, at least it's not Joey. If it's from Joey, it's a Noe. That's that disgustingness that permeates and resonates. Yeah, Def. Of course, yeah, Def. So we go back, feels like more than 20 years. B-Money, I think that the job might inherently get a little tougher as we pretty much make our way through that of the radical axis that we navigate, okay? You might be saying, radical axis? That sounds like analytical geometry. Well, that's because it is. Good old Shyzabox does a little thing called cosmological philosophy, right? Well, that's right, it's boring and stupid. That's why probably we do it. So we run ourselves on what you call a radical access, okay? We can navigate and kind of manipulate that of computational metrics and algorithms, and like when we make our own AI and things of that nature, we navigate things via a trinary methodology versus a binary script, okay? Now you can verify and go through any Kaggles that we have open source. Go audit the hell out of us. We enjoy it. It tickles sometimes when we get audited, and believe you me, if you're the IRS, you need to audit your own selves and the country. Boy, do you guys got some messed up stuff going on. Hold on, what's that? Is that a Rooster Teeth shirt? What the hell's a Rooster Teeth? You talking about this one here, B-Money? Nah, it's the show shirt. Believe you me. That's Asmon Gold's shirt, okay? Now, I don't know what that is, but no, it's Joey's Milk. See? They make us wear these around here. All right, now, believe you me, our camera sucks and we don't know what you can see, okay? But as we straddle this chair and make it that of our high school dreams, how we used to desire to sit in high school, like A.C. Slater and Saved by the Bell, and or Zach Morris. He was pretty hot and cool. This is Joey's Milk. Now, we know it's reverses backwards. That's the power of the internet, B-Money. You know, that's just how it goes. But, obviously, that's Asmon Gold's shirt, okay? Now, it costs $13,000. That's because he's rich. Believe you me, it's not worth $13,000 at all, okay? That tag there, that's a clearance tag. Shirt was $1. Channel's trying to rip off Asmon Gold because he's rich. But, believe you me, there's only one in existence. So it's not, it's not Rooster Teeth, unfamiliar therewith, but it is a Joey's Milk. And remember, don't gulp Joey's Milk. Blah! Sick! You will be in the infirmary within sooner than you can say, get me to the infirmary, because it's very important I accidentally gulp Joey's Milk. Blah! Sick! Wait, do you know how to make someone moderator? Do we know how to make someone moderator? Probably. I mean, we'd probably figure it out. Good old Shyzabox is pretty good at that, see? With it being pretty much our show. Even when management kind of chimes in and thinks they know how to run the place, they don't. It's all about the talent, baby. So, of course, we know how to make someone moderator, B-Money, but the thing is that, is it a necessitated pull and field as of current? It's getting there, baby. You know, as people keep taking that of our literary works and they keep reposting them and selling them, like, all right, so we write books, we write games, we write demos, we do all of this stuff, okay? We give away the games, we give away the demos, we give away all of the theory we do, B-Money, we give that away for free. It's on the IPFS site. We got some shorter versions pinned on Pinata and their free iterations. You can go check it out. You can engage with anything like that, okay? Where we reciprocally look to, you know, maintain that of a receiving of daily bread, okay, if you will, is that of our literary sales, our literary transactions, and that of us peddling that of our wares, okay, for, albeit minute, a monetary gain of sort, okay? Gotta be honest with you, B-Money. When we sell one of our books, like if we sell Pickled Punk Philosophy, okay, we get maybe like 50 cents to $1 or something, okay? Now, believe you me, we don't get rich off selling our books. Most independent researchers, self-published authors, you know, you're likely to sell maybe 250 copies of a book in its entire lifetime, okay? You don't get rich off this stuff, B-Money, but we give the games away for free, okay? We give the demos away for free. We give away our theory for free because that is for mankind. That is for mankind's benefit. Anyone can take our open source Kaggles, our open source demos, and our LimeWire inspired music player. You can use this stuff. It's decentralized. It's on Web3, okay? That's the future of the Wild Wild West internet, right? we make this stuff and we give it away for free there because anyone can take the code, run through it. They can take our math, our science, our works, and they can improve them. They can make them better. Hell, turn a profit off them if you desire and or will. Okay? We will not stop you, all right? It's open source because we love mankind. We love humanity. The only place that we draw the line in any of our dissemination of that of our conscious thought, aside from the free games, the free demos, the free everything on the IPFS site, okay? All that's free. That belongs to mankind. We didn't create math. We didn't create science. That is innate. That is ordained by God. That is to exist outside the realm of our capabilities and confines. Therefore, we're not going to try and profit off of what is naturally free and exists, okay? We refuse to. Let that of us receive our daily bread in a reciprocality should one desire to embark on picking up one of our poetry books or our pickled punk philosophy, or if you want to, venture in to read any of our other philosophy and stuff like that, like Transmutating God, Nailing Kalimba, Delectable, New Non-Native Species on Mankind's Origin. What's that? That's right here. We got that of literary works that we peddle, that we, do, that we put out there, all right? And here's where the whole moderator thing comes in, as, ironically, we do a little more of these and, a little more comes here and there and such like that. We don't get rich off of any of our literary books, but a bunch of jerk faces are maybe trying to, okay? We give for free and we try and maintain pricing as low as possible, okay? We don't want anyone to go to these third-party resellers, these, other entities that are reposting our literary works and charging 4 times the cost for them. Because believe you me, B-Money, they're starting to, okay? As, that little bit of, online persona gains a little traction, and maybe someone does want to pick up, that of a poetry book, or that of anything, or Nailing Kalimba, or someone wants to dabble into Transmutating God and be like, what? Someone's gonna, we got phone calls about the title of that work alone. Transmutating God brought people out of the woodwork to make a call like, hey, what's this book about? Okay? That is the, endeavor that if one wishes to partake in or whatever, that's the exchange that's behind the paywall, and that's what any of that, is reciprocally, embedded therewith. All the code, all the games, all that stuff, that's all free. So, again, long-winded story to make it all the way back to that of moderator, but as all these assholes are posting our books for like 30, 40 bucks, don't buy them for that. Holy cow! Please don't buy them for that. We're not getting that money. It's a bunch of jerk faces trying to get, themselves more rich off of their own, not their endeavors. Okay? We seek not to get rich in that of any of our literary works or anything like that. So, as these things kind of, go their way, as we have that of the, intelligence paradox going, which, apologies, okay, in advance, we forgot to look at the numbers today, but obviously the dumb techtable, we didn't pull those numbers as of, about the last 2 days. It shouldn't have changed, okay, as it should not have. But we did not look just to verify. But remember, do not buy the book Delectable, okay? Do not buy this book. Tries to trick you, made itself 94% off, okay? Don't believe it. It's free. Go read it on Kindle Unlimited. We don't get rich off that either. 0.04 cents per page read equals ones of cents, okay? Do not buy this book. If you buy this book, it will change this metric up here, all right? And then, obviously, it'll be a funny joke. So don't do it, okay? Because the joke's not funny. It's a intelligence paradox. Which is pretty funny. Divine comedy at its best. But yes, oh, you're giving me all the steps. It's hold on to the chat they did, then the moderator button. So go and hold on to the chat and hold my chat and please. Oh, the moderator button. Well, believe you me, we'll probably dabble with that in just a minute, okay? We're not set up around here how quiet you want to say other good channels are, okay? So, the spot is yours if therefore you want it. But Yeah, yeah, but you know, yeah, as far as the actual implementation right at this stage in time, we'll have to communicate a little more thoroughly therewith, okay? Please do, if you're serious, B-Money, shoot an email to the channel and or go to X and or go to Bluesky. Follow us on any of those, you know, things and or shoot an email. You don't got to follow us on there because who cares? Shoot us a message, get in touch, and let us become even better friends, B-Money, okay? Because believe you me, as much as we would love to just throw, you know, moderator on anything, what if you don't like our mom? She's trying to chat like, your stream sucks, okay? And, okay. And you as a moderator, you're like, well, that's pretty rude. Ban. Well, our mom tells us that every day. When are you going to make something with your life? Get a real job. Yes, Mom, we get it. You don't like us mooching off of all of your whatever. Keep in mind, B-Money, this is all for philosophical entertainment, obviously. Everything's fine. How was that? You want us to read another poem from our book? Okay. Now you are talking. We didn't know you wanted us to read another poem. Jeez, why didn't you just say so? Oh, fantastic. All right. Well, we already cleansed the ether, too. That's fantastic. Okay. So, obviously, since we're going to read you another poem of ours, no, that's right. Yeah, fantastic. This one's called Socrates. Oh, you've heard it before. Fantastic. All right. Socrates. Boss, careful. Looks like hemlock. Looks right. That much is known. Next time around, don't you dare drink. Fight for love and for that of home. Let not city decide your fate. Roll over. Do not do. Poison only rots the mind, killing you throughout. Resist or don't. Poison's bad. Well, that's not something to laugh at. That's good quality poetry. That's right. Fantastic. Yo, that's so good. You're right, that's so good. And believe you me, if someone was reading us free poetry like that over, you know, the internet, we'd probably want to go buy the book on Amazon.com or Kindle Unlimited. You know, yeah, all sorts of, I mean, I'd want to read the whole thing. Believe you me, if you like that, you're really going to not like this. We're going to read you a passage from our book, Nailing Kalimba. Oh, that's right. We're going to read it for free. That's right. That way you don't even have to buy the book. All right. Now, one of the best things about the you know, book Nailing Kalimba is that, well, obviously we wrote it. That book sucks. I've seen it. What? Quiet, Mom. I'm trying to get someone to purchase it. But, you know, I mean, the shipwreck table of contents, psh, who has that in their book? Us. That's pretty awesome. Now, believe you me, even though it has all the offerings of what is offered, we want to read this passage because it comes from a place of love in one's endeavors that they undertake. Or something like that. I don't know. Whatever sounds poetry and philosophical and stuff like that. Nailing Kalimba. When I was but a lad, suckling on me mutter's tit, I could hear that of the sea calling my nature. 'Twas this indeed from war me tale begins. Nay, 'twas merely upon that of the teat itself, where suckled the beat of that of the universe. Oh, that's right. What a cliffhanger. I'd have to rush out and buy it. Fantastic. Oh, you son of a bitch, you got us. What? Everything's fine. How was that? Yes, so today's show, obviously. Hello. Who's that? Amy Jean. Well, Rick the Doorman. We knew that it wasn't going to be before too long that you got that door fixed. That's right, Rick. See ya. Believe you me. Rick, while you were gone, B-Money came into town and decided to be a moderator. So, B-Money, you got to know that Rick's our door guy, okay? That's right. See, while B-Money, we go back ones of chats ago, Rick and us go back ones of stream ago. And by ones of stream, many a ones of stream, before we even took a hiatus to do even more crazy research. Rick used to have doors falling upon us, and we believe it was that upon Rick's birthday where we truly realized that Rick was to be our doorman for as many doors as we may need. So, be nice to him, because believe you me, we don't need our moderator and our doorman at ends with each other. Sounds like more work for us. I gotta go. See ya next time. Go live. Good books. I might even, well, if you buy one soon, believe you me, B-Money, you might regret it. So, read them for free on Kindle Unlimited. And remember, if you do buy them, do not buy this one. Don't buy this one. It's tricking you, making it 94% off. If you buy this one, then it goes up here on this metric. This is dumb-tectable. And believe you me, it's kind of funny. But do not buy this book, okay? It's an intelligence paradox. A few people can buy the book, but everyone can't buy the book, so don't buy the book, okay? The book's free. A Kindle Unlimited, start a trial, search Shyzabox books, bam, free. Typos and all. Believe you me, it's like probably 6, 7 typos in that book. We're not going to change them either. Someone can change it on another printing, but we already proved our theory, so who cares? They get to stay there, and don't buy it. Fantastic. The big JC in the house. Well, believe you me, the party just got even better. Rick, of course, you and JC go way back. You might not remember each other, but you do. That's fantastic. What a party that this is shaped into be. Now, believe you me, party can go anywhere from here, because we got all sorts of talent in the area now. We're not saying here on our end. You guys are going to have to float this one. What's new on the horizon? What's new on the agenda? What do you want us to make or do? We are here to serve. Now, maybe not well, but we're here to serve nonetheless. Bam! But, yeah, I mean, we pretty much, today, have nothing genuinely planned aside from that of just reiterating, because we had a conversation or two over, the past couple days with different entities, individuals, things of that nature, where folks were, in essence, wondering and inquiring further into the basis of what Lithic Logic is. And believe you me, there's nothing more to it. It can be described in that of just a mere sentence or two. Lithic Logic is that of stone, that of anything that we can agree on that is, okay? If the rock exists, can we agree the rock exists? If so, that is Lithic Logic. Let's use it as a basis point, a starting point to put aside pettiness, to put aside anything else, to start a basic foundational knowledge thereon that can exist outside of all of the things that people harbor and maintain that prevent a furtherance of benefits for humanity, of design in the direction humanity goes. Too many people squabble over petty crap. You're never going to make better stuff that's able to, transform that of the society for the betterment of man in general, or even in part or as a whole in itself. You're not going to do it. If you're sitting there warring with your neighbor and warring with your neighbor's neighbor over that of pettiness, you're never going to be able to devote the time to make anything better. You're never going to be able to shake hands with your neighbor and build a bridge to that of an even betterment, for the existence of all. Maybe those borders harbor national parks or, big monumental, something that's better than nothing. when working together, everyone's able to achieve that much more. So, all of the guarding your work and covering your paper and not cheating on tests that's ingrained and embedded in everyone's minds over the years, eventually, you go through, you find out that, there's a lithic stone structure that exists, but someone comes and shines a little light of truth on it, and you see that you can follow it around and, ascertain for yourself how to work best together, how to do things, and you don't need anyone chiming in on the rest of it, filling your mind with crap, okay? Now, we're not saying we don't fill mind with crap. Keep in mind, this is all for philosophical entertainment. That's right. But lithic rock, lithic stone, lithic, okay, itself is just that foundational, okay? There's nothing more to it. Nothing else needs to be added to it. Okay, but it is a foundation with which can be built upon. Okay, now if you want to venture into crazy and you want to go into the talk therewith, we dare say that lithic logic was utilized by that of ancient cultures, ancient, techniques, ancient, originations of wherever species maintained and or was, whatever species you want to call it. Whether you want to say, Anunnaki, you want to say Watchers, you want to say, celestial beings, you want to say fallen angels, you want to say other tribes and races of man, you want to say, caveman. It doesn't matter what you want to say. If we can agree that there were cultures and we can agree that there were entities that existed that created civilizations, can we start from there? It doesn't matter what the civilizations were. Doesn't matter what they practiced. It doesn't matter what they preached. They were there. Okay? The lithic foundation and the lithic logic thusly dictates to utilize that as the blanketed formulation. Let's not put words into entities' mouths that we were not around and or privy to, that of their thoughts, their speeches, their dialect, and their reasonings for why they did what they did. Okay, it's the same thing like going back and seeing in the, formulation of countries and the, unification of different entities and beings over the course of history. You can go back and nitpick reasonings why something happened or something didn't happen, all right? But you're still going back and scrutinizing something that already happened. You're not going to change it. It's how you build upon it going further into the future, all right, for what you're going to have benefits it for all being, okay? You can sit there and you can nitpick the past, or you can build towards that of a better future. Choice is yours. You get one chance to do it on a daily basis, okay? If you don't do it, theoretically, in today of, and you just sit there nitpicking that of the past for, what it is, then your tomorrow is going to consist of what the present is today, okay? Theoretically, all for philosophical entertainment, obviously. But the point is that with that lithical foundation, all right, if we can agree that cultures existed, if we can agree that rocks exist, all right, then we can look even further and build upon a greater understanding for humanity to even go into other realms, all right, of reasoning, other possibilities of potentiality for humanity to, kind of pivot to and ascertain, that of should directionally where we go one, we go all in this direction or that of which, okay? Now, good old Shyzabox, utilizing that of his closed Shyzalosophical Godelian loop, pretty crazy, right? Mathematically, it's Shaw-sealed, all right, so yeah, there's no one doing it. All right, but we are very, very capable of navigating on a radical axis, okay? So that's if you got Elon Musk doing what he does for society, and you got another entity doing what they do for society, hey, good old Shyzabox is able to weasel his way right between, two concentric circles and navigate that of the lithic logic, the structure, the reasoning of doesn't matter, let's do something great together. Okay? When you have a radical access, all right, you can intersect the circles and the, formulations thereof and utilize means and metrics, okay, to try and do that of which for a greater betterment, for a greater reasoning, for a greater being, okay, should one choose. Now, You need not ascribe to anything that we say, and dare we say we do encourage anyone to audit that of what we say. All right, we provide mathematical and computational data with which you may go through. There are, the algorithms and the means and the computational code that we provide that anyone can go and look at. Okay, it exists. All right, so therefore, you don't have to buy into it, but if you don't, it doesn't negate the fact that it exists. It doesn't matter if you look at it, if you don't look at it, if you enjoy it or don't enjoy it, if you like Shyzabox or don't like Shyzabox, doesn't matter. It still exists. Okay? The same way, like if a movie comes out that you don't like, you might not like the movie, but there's no taking it back. No takesies backsies. Okay? Same thing with our code. That's how we're able to make a literal intelligence paradox, okay? We can physically sit back and tell people, do not buy our book, do not buy this book, because it will change the metrics up here, and even, as a joke or anything like that, it is a literal intelligence paradox, okay? Doesn't have to make sense, but this dead book, this dead tree, okay, it priced itself into an affordable existence to trick people to buy it. Okay? I shit you not. It literally broke Amazon's pricing algorithm to facilitate one to acquire that of which. Okay? It wants to exist because truth exists. Okay? Now, we're not saying what we write and what we recorded and what we have as truth. That's for that of anyone to subjectively decide and incorporate into that of their own means. We don't force it on you. We dare tell you not to buy this book. Do not buy this book. Now, this book happens to be Thermodynamic Enlightenment at a price tag. Well, that's pretty crazy to claim on the internet, Cotton. Well, of course it is. That's why, again, all right, when we go through and literally await that of empirical validation and or that of non-empirical validation, it matters not. We sealed all of our coding. It's done. Math. We didn't create math. Don't buy this book. It's trying to trick you. It's a intelligence paradox. That's it. Literally, we got a chart up here. Now we apologize. We didn't check the sales the last 2 days here, but, we were busy not working. What about when you were working yesterday? Well, that doesn't count. Hold on, we're missing something. One might say the ancient structures carved out of mountains, including castles and cave systems, required a rock manipulating technology. Well, absolutely. Not only sintering and things of that nature we feel were possible and plausible, but yes, the stone levitational elements and or the resonance of stone can verifiably be proved. And believe it or not, Big JC, you have come through and not only a means and a metric, but herein lies the test for society. If we want to prove something like that, okay, we can. We literally developed a test that one can utilize. We didn't even make up the test. It exists, okay? They use it on a daily basis to check resonantial frequencies of concrete and things of that nature, okay? It's like a measuring scientific tool, okay? It's the ASTM C597. Now, don't quote us exactly specifically, because we could be getting it wrong and should probably check our notes before saying it, okay? But the ASTM C597, if you do this, okay, if you take this instrument, this device, and you run the testing capabilities of it on the Sarsen Core 58 samples, okay, Core 58 samples that exist in the English Heritage Foundation and the Salisbury Museum. They're samples of sarsen stone from Stonehenge that they yanked out of them mugs back in like the 1940s or 1950s. Again, don't quote us on that date, but they have these stones. They already have them. If you take these core samples that English Heritage Foundation and the Salisbury Museum have, and you run the ASTM C597 test on it, then you can see its resonantial capacities and capabilities, and it gridded itself out mathematically in Kennett Avenue, Kennett Lane, to the capacity and the specifications that that stone permits. The math is in the design and the layout. Look at Kennett Avenue off of Stonehenge, okay? You look at how it is laid out. You look at the exact mathematical measurement between the distance of the stones, and it goes back to it's our 187 bias anchor. But you go back to that 187 bias anchor and you look and it aligns with the math, and whether it's biased for us or not, irrelevant. It actually led us to our constant, 330566. Okay, doesn't matter, irrelevant. Believe you me, we got to check that number too. It's been a second before we dabbled into that of those endeavors. That was a smidge ago. Okay. But if you go literally run the ASTM C597 test on the Sarsen 5.8 stone samples that exist, they already got them. They pulled them out of Kennett Avenue back in the 40s or 50s, whenever. Doesn't matter. They have them. English Heritage Foundation and the Salisbury Museum, they're sitting on these. Someone can go and do a non-destructive 15-minute test on these bad boys and ascertainably prove to a certainty, one way or another, whether that of the resonantial frequencies align and are in alignment with that of their layout and the foundational grid of that of Stonehenge itself. Fantastic. But yeah, you want to, stuff can be proven, it can be done. Is someone willing to do it? Is someone willing to have fun? That's the thing. Because you look at theoretically what happened with the rest of kind of ancient tech, mankind theoretically misinterpreted it very, 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 very bad and caused like the mud flood, theoretically, all for philosophical entertainment, and that of, fallout from other debris and things of that nature, okay? Theoretically, that was a misutilization of technologies they did not understand, especially sintering technologies. If you have a breakdown in your grid, all right, and you have a breakdown in your sintering apparatus, and you're in the middle of making something, all right, you're going to lose all of that structure, okay? It's not going to come out the way you want. If it liquefies or something like that, or you have an outside component affect it negatively, you're going to have all sorts of very, very bad outcomes that arise or can develop, hence the burying of Göbekli Tepe, all right? That was an intentional burying. What they did is utilize, theoretically, off of philosophical entertainment, okay? And again, this is back when we were writing New Non-Native Species on Mankind's Origin. They purposely buried Göbekli Tepe in a glass-like vacuum seal. How did they do that? Because sand, okay, the innate qualities within sand, dirt, just the lithic logic that exists, it acted as a partial vacuum barrier, which is what you really need to operate within to have a working foundational system, okay? You can't be working in a full 1.0 vacuum system, all right, because there's no wiggle room for anything. It is extremely volatile and dangerous, okay? That's why we utilize a partial vacuum system right at the threshold, all right, of high volatility at 0.085, all right, which is also ironically our universal constant for shite and that of our lectonic usages therewith, all right? And in utilizing that under those metrics, under those guys, you can formulate and ascertain ways to do things should you desire and or choose. Again, it's all in the book, Delectable. Don't buy it. Or you go up there. It's an intelligence paradox, okay? Literally. Civilization that created these structures are within the catacombs. Look into the Ukrainian catacombs. Well, you know what? I don't think that we have done that as of yet, and believe you me, that sounds like a great thing to do. We'll definitely look into that, and believe you me, any of the underground civilizations we correlate, all right, to a very high degree, all right, almost of certainty, to that of the, overlap in a lot of old ancient texts and or older writings, okay? You have these times in history where the sun is said to be blotted out for 6-7 years, right? 6-7. 6-7 seasons, 6-7 growth cycles, whatever, doesn't matter. However long the time was, irrelevant. All right, in that time frame, obviously, with no sun, with a fallout, with a debris, with, cloud, with dust, with anything like that, it would be almost necessity for a culture, if they wish to survive or thrive or have any chance of, making it through the duration of the, fixings of some kind of drastic fallout and nature and stuff before it can clean and rinse and wash itself out in its natural cycles that take place, all right? You have all of these dynamics that can come clean it up on the outside, but in the meantime, while that's happening, obviously, underground is logically the best place to take foundational basis and shelter, okay? And that of stone, that of the guaranteed, obviously, lithic, rock, stone, structure, even the catacombs themselves, all being in rock, you know that it's going to be a more safe structure, a more stable structure that can withstand the dynamics of what it is. they hide their knowledge and technology in the Vatican archives. Yeah, so the Vatican archives, that's a whole, we were actually just talking about this a little earlier, believe it or not, not stream-wise. The Vatican archives, all right, they thusly say, all right, are cleared out and now open, okay? That is the stance, that is the, story, that is what is given. Supposedly, the Vatican archives are completely open, and anyone can go into that and, check it out, see that of which, whatever, okay? Now, we don't know, because we obviously don't work for the Vatican, and we have not seen with our own eyes that of the open, archives or anything like that, and or their library, and or their facilities with which they house and hold their, literary works and their ancient scrolls and manuscripts and everything dating back to any pertaining to knowledge in general that they have, okay? Obviously an old area, obviously an old, independent operating ability. There's no telling what they house and hold. Now they tell us it's open, without auditing it, without seeing, is it? So, the official position now is that, it's open, it's auditable, you can check it out. But, is it? That's one of those hard ones. They can always move stuff around, they can always shift stuff around, they can always call stuff something else. They can be like, hey, this is no longer the works that we have in the archives, okay? They just take a stack of books, okay? All of Shyzabox ones. Where's the trash? Damn it, Mom, stop throwing our books away. You take a stack of books, all right, and they can be like, okay, this is no longer part of the archives. This is part of our research department, okay? Now, our archives are open for anyone to audit, but is the research department open then, okay? We don't know, but theoretically, you can manipulate and move around all sorts of literary works and text to where, yes, even inherently the Vatican, that opens their archives and says that everything is, readable, everything is, approachable, everything is, able to be put within one's reaches that desires to have it. Without actually going there, without actually seeing the metrics and or thing, you're just taking the word for it. But it's the same way even just watching a streamer basically online, okay? We have a lot of bold claims, Cotton, on the internet. When we go around theoretically saying that we've decoded the Voynich manuscript, that's some crazy shit, okay? You can't just claim stuff like that online and not have receipts to back it up because people do the research, okay? But what ends up happening in the realm of, our degrees and things of that nature and the metrics that we utilize and use, because we're working on an entire Gödelian closed-loop system, any of the truth that exists, okay, within the confines of our ability to understand truth, it's going to resurface because that's what we want. Even if we are wrong on any component aspect or minute detail of any of our thought, theory, consciousness, things of that nature, even down to the typos in our books that we inherently know are wrong. This book. The mere existence thereof, all right, necessitates a role all on its own accord, all right, that is filled all in its own being, okay? What exists, exists, and you're never going to change that, all right? So, it's the any hiding of information that the Vatican may have, any stuff, whether they manipulate it, move it around, all right, eventually in any system, all right, that has closed loop and concentrically, that's how, that of the universe just works, okay, is apparent in nature, okay, that's why we utilize Lithic Logic. You can't look at that of natural concentric circles, okay, and things that of nature that exist all on their own accord, all right, now, obviously our camera sucks, but you got concentric circles that form in that of nature, okay, with nature yielding that of its own gain, all right? That's, look at old ancient maps too, okay? There's a reason why they utilize that of something like a basic resonantial frequency, okay? Because that's what was understood, okay? That's what, if you go and you start diving into Einstein further and things of that nature, and, we can branch off and theorize all day if we want to, it's all for philosophical entertainment. maybe not good. But if you start looking at Einstein's works and everything like that, I mean, we see heir apparent that Einstein was looking at stuff as a dead system, okay? Einstein theoretically was looking at stuff as just the baseline foundation of a dead system that had already occurred, already had its thing. Hey, now this is correct. This is accurate, and that is all correct and accurate for where it lies. But if you are in a living system, if you yourself are alive, if you yourself can interact, manipulate, manufacture, move around, have any type of association with a component of that of the 3D world and universe, then you're in a living environment, okay? Now, is it a living simulation and or a living environment? Subjective, arguable, and ironically irrelevant, because either way, the show goes on, okay? Show goes on until it doesn't. So it's your utilizations, your manipulations, your techniques to associate with that of which, again, all for philosophical entertainment, that you utilize and can correlate on a daily basis that you get one chance to do per day, okay? Make usages of that of your time that you will. Again, all for philosophical entertainment. You can sit there and you can reflect on and you can think about the past, all right? And you can sit there and reflect on and think about the past and see how it can benefit the future. If you don't do that latter part, you're just wasting time, okay? That's what we found most historians, most philosophers were doing, all right? They have all of these ever-apparent methodologies to just look at the same kind of pivotal points in history and, you know, just ascertain that this happened, this happened, this happened, this is where we are. And, yes, that might all very well be true, but is that what happened or is that something that happened? Okay? Is that what happened or is that someone's take on what happened? Okay? Is that what happened or is that a fabrication of what happened? All of those in themselves are going to heir apparent have their own ripology effects, okay, on the concentricization of what universally is agreed upon as truth, okay? Now, inherently, there's only going to be one fundamental and foundational truth. That's the only way it can work, all right? So when you have a closed-loop system, all right, that the only way for it to exist is to exist. If something's omitted, if something's left out, if something, you know, is turned down, if something's destroyed, that of the components of truth therein will reign supreme, and Lithic Logic dictates will necessitate a tunneling thereto, that of the ascertainable future, okay? As the geometric gain is yielded, the gain will occur, the gain will happen, all right? It's when you're navigating this radical axis between all of these, you know, geometric gains, all right, that you foundationally can tunnel your way into any ascertainable one with which you wish and make usages thereof under the desirement of how you will. Now, again, this offers philosophical entertainment, but, you know, we don't hold hands with that of abridging Eastern philosophy to that of one's understanding. Believe you me, it might seem like some crazy crash course shit, but there's probably more there than one may know. One might say that Einstein was a fake and a plagiarist who was widely disliked by the scientific community of his time. Well, not only that, but that's inherently, you know, true in its own right. Okay? A lot of people, you know, didn't dig Einstein, okay? Now, there are a lot of very, very, very motivated individuals who hate what Einstein put out into the world in essence, okay, to some certain degree, all right? You can go to, there's actually a website called EinsteinError.com. We haven't been to it, or if we have, it was once way upon a time, because we interacted with someone on LinkedIn that's all about it, okay? That's their life, okay? Proving Einstein was wrong. That's fine. Because there are components of his work that we find, yes, don't align or correlate with ours because he looks at stuff, Einstein himself, theoretically, from a dead system. We look at stuff as Shyzabox from a living system, okay? We practice our living philosophy, Shyzalosophy, which is based on Lithic Logic, which is that of, the foundational cornerstone of what can be and what can be agreed on, okay? We can fight over our interpretations of almost anything else, religion, politics, how to live, how to raise kids, how to eat, how to, police. You can conceptualize all of these different components and aspects, but you're never going to universally agree until you can universally agree. You need to put aside all of the petty stuff, or else are going to come about in any means or metrics in a manner that is of relevance and or benefit to any, components of, what is good inherently. Einstein was a fake and plagiarist. Yeah, so as far as the plagiarism thing, yeah, too, we heard, of course, many a story of Einstein taking ideas from that of others. And just like that in our, when we look at Tesla's works and, theoretically solved Tesla's 369, which is merely 1 divided by 7 is the only number without 3, 6, and or 9, and that of the remainder therewith. The repeating remainder, it's again theoretical, but it's a bold thing to claim on the internet to say, hey, we theoretically decoded the Voynich manuscript. Also, we theoretically think Einstein was looking at a dead system and there's resonance on the back end of the periodic table. Or we theoretically, finished and decoded what Tesla left behind with the, 369, all right? That was the big thing everyone studies. It's 1 divided by 7. It's the only number without 369 in the remainder. Feel free to audit us. You have a calculator. We don't hide behind the math. We don't hide behind the science. You don't have to believe our takes. You don't have to jump into our system. You don't have to acknowledge any of our beliefs and or, things, which, believe you me, are formulated with that of our closest brethren over a lifetime of study. What kind of study? Academic? Not necessarily. A study of that of life, hanging out with your buddies and talking about conspiracy theories can yield foundationally much greater results than, sitting in a classroom for 100 hours, theoretically, depending on the subject matter. Classrooms have their place. Conversation has its place as well. Okay? It all exists. You're not going to negate the fact that it exists. But wherein is going to be what is remembered, where is going to be what lays the foundation and acknowledgeable, basis for that knowledge and, longevity of mankind to continue. You go to the catacombs and things of that nature, will you find tales and telltale signs of things that led to us being around today? Okay? In some component, some degree, some aspect, there must have been some sort of, metric that was utilized to have a culture remain around as long as it has, okay? Now, in our new non-native species on mankind's origin, theoretically, there's been quite a few, many restarts to society and things of that nature, all right? Even all the accounts of the floods and things that you'll find in the Bible and any other account thereof, okay? It exists not only in the literary world, but also in the verbal retelling world of ancient cultures that used to dictate things just merely via, word of mouth, okay? It's playing telephone with history, but believe you me, it exists. Therefore, you must account for it because therein the truth in the literary works and the truth in the verbal retelling, it's somewhere going to intermesh and entangle itself to that of the greater concentricized gain that is just afforded by nature itself. The world will continue to grow, even if it has the cycle of life cycles dying within it, all right? It affords the growth of new worlds. That's why things change. That's why it evolves. The wind doesn't stop blowing until the wind does not blow, all right? The water does not evaporate until the water is evaporated, but the water can't evaporate, even if it's evaporating at the present. A mountain's a mountain until it's a mountain, okay? Eastern philosophy's crazy. Eastern philosophy. During my college quantum physics class, a student got expelled for challenging the professor regarding mathematics and conclusions. Yeah, I don't doubt it. If you step on anyone's toes, that's why Shyzabox is pseudo-volatile, all right? We talked to a couple, professors and a couple teachers and things of that nature over a lengthy period of time, okay, pertaining to a variety of iterations of discourses that we get into, and a variety of, hell, we can and we are blessed and afforded to be able to research that of whatever the fuck we want, okay? We're not under an NDA, we don't work for a big company, and we're not beholden to an HR department. We can do anything that we desire and or choose to learn. We can do anything that we desire and or choose to do, all right? Until someone rolls up with a briefcase full of cash, because believe you me, Shyzabox ain't applying. That's not how Shyzabox works. It's how society wants Shyzabox to work, but we aren't doing it that way. We are not going to be beholden and work for some little HR department somewhere and, make some shitty little app demos, all right, when we can make the entire infrastructure. Bold claim, Cotton. You can't say shit like that on the internet. You better have math to back it up. Thusly, we do. Okay? We are probably, that's why, again, we had a whole show on keyboard warrioring. People end up biting off more than they can chew when they try and fuck with us. We're not even joking, all right? We are better than no one, all right? We are mankind. We are flawed just as much as anyone else, okay? We are not on a pedestal therein ourselves because we are better than no one else. We are all equal. Therefore, we are the best of the worst. You may walk on our back. We serve that of man. We don't serve that of corporations, and we are not beholden to that thereof. Now, Shyzabox sells out pretty fast, means we buy in. If a company rolls up with a briefcase full of cash and our tricked-out Tesla signing bonus, obviously, we might sign if their morals align with ours. But we'll always have the betterment of man in it. All right, we're never going to, try and manipulate or harbor anything over that of mankind. That belongs to mankind, okay? Mankind does not own math. Mankind does not own science, okay? These are universal metrics that can be used by anyone who wishes to pursue their usages, okay? To have entire apparatuses dictate, and that's why we have the entire intelligence paradox or whatever based off of our book, because, and it's funny how, we start doing this and then all of a sudden we start seeing articles popping up like New York Times claims bestsellers list is manipulated, or is this, that, the other, or isn't what you think it is. We start doing shows talking about how New York Times changes their metrics and measurements for how they give you what minds crave, the Brondo of literary books. It's what minds crave. You're force-fed this shit, right? You think that you're, getting something that is garnered by everyone to be the best of and the end-all be-all and the epitome of what is public dissemination and discourse of the time, only to realize that you're just being force-fed shit from a good old boys club. Theoretically, off philosophical entertainment. Point is that, regardless of any, approach to such a metric, regardless of anyone's, willingness to partake in such a system or not, whether they're aware of it or not, the systems exist, so it's what you do with that information on the day of, going forward, with what you're going to make out of it. Therefore, that's why we got the intelligence paradox. That's why we tell people, do not buy this book. Okay? Theoretically, Delectable can never become a New York Times bestseller because it is not a member of the New York Times, good old boy club, okay? We are not a member of Ingram Spark or Draft to Digital, nor do we plan on becoming. That's fine. Not that they're bad companies, not that they don't do that of their own, greatness for that of what they do, all right? But we don't feel it necessitated for us to venture into paying a company $20 to join the good old boys club, and or by making an account with which they will then put that of our literary works under sale that they get a cut for them. Okay? We don't look to get rich off any of our books, hence, we don't get rich off any of our books. We just don't. But we can have an intelligence paradox that is formulated because we have one of our dead books price itself into the living system, all right? It takes on a new component and a new utilization of that of the lectonic usages that are in that of our inherent theory that we monographed in the book to begin with. It's crazy how those loops work. Again, you can't claim this stuff without stuff to audit, though, so please go to Kaggle and check that of our math, check that of our science, okay? Shaw sealed, delivered. But yeah, someone getting expelled for challenging thought, for challenging theory, there's no place for that. Yeah, if a professor can't take the criticism, if a professor can't take the questioning, if a professor can't take the discourse, all right? Now, there's a point in time, too, that a student must be a student and that a professor must profess, okay? But if a professor cannot take the words of the student, if the professor cannot utilize the things that are given to them to do more teaching, all right, to make that evil good, to make that Joey not Joey, Joey sick. All right, you have these metrics that if they do not do them to a good degree or they're incapable of it, they probably shouldn't be the professor or teacher to begin with, okay? You can't just expel someone who questions you. I mean, you can, but believe you me, history shows that's not generally good. It's kind of fascist and dictatorial, and not usually a great payoff of that in the long run, okay? New York Times pickle buffers. Well, they sure are like some Joey pickles. Blah, old expired ones. Believe you me, there's a shelf life for stuff for a reason. But alas, as we polish off the rest of our swill, we do find ourselves rather parched and ready to embark on that of endeavors which are not this. So if you want to get out of here before us, now's your chance. We will be polishing this off and getting out of here. So, it's been a blast. And/or you had nothing else to do. Doesn't matter. But you be sure that you go take care of yourself first and foremost, because there's only one you, and we can't replace you easily. That's right. We can't go through making a bunch of fake accounts, subscribing to ourselves. We already got in trouble for that a couple times now. But you take care of yourself first and foremost, because we can't replace you. Then you look around, you take care of anyone else who really, really needs it second, because believe you me, they're out there and they might not even know how to ask for help or assistance, okay? So you take care of them second. Hey, then you look around and you take care of anyone else that you like or love more than us. Unlikely, but maybe. You take care of them third. But at the end of the day, you got anything left over, you want to go to Amazon.com or Kindle Unlimited, search Shyzabox books, get Transmutating God, Pickled Punk Philosophy, a officially endorsed live stream note-taking journal, okay? Believe you me, you don't even got to take notes on this live stream. Be any live stream you want, okay? You don't got to take notes on this one, but you could. Why would I? I don't know. You got anything left over at the end of the day, we'll take it. Because we don't want your subscription, we want your money. Downvote the shit out of this, go to Cashapp and give us a buck, or go to Amazon.com, search Shyzabox books, and buy one of them. Get off our lawn!